What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? This is going to be your review of Real Housewives of Potomac season 4, episode 6. Excuse me. So we picked the episode up. We pick up where we left off with them arguing in the hotel room, and basically, it was pretty much the tail end of the argument. Gizelle was telling Candace, "Just be a friend." Candace was like, "Well, a friend, it deserves reciprocation." Blah blah blah. Whatever. Um, Whatever, honey. Anyway, wasn't a whole lot to it, to be honest with you. But that was pretty much the end of that. Gizelle talking about something. If I knew it was starting all this, I would have kept my mouth shut. Your ass should have kept your mouth shut anyway, because how did you think it was going to end up? Like, you going to tell somebody, hey, she doesn't think you really trying to get pregnant. Go. Like, come on. You knew what that was. You just didn't know how drunk they were and how loud they was going to be. That's all that was. But anyway. So it's the next morning, and all of the ladies are getting together. They're all going to different places. Gizelle and Candace are going to Dookie Chase, which is I've been there. It's a great restaurant. And of course the matriarch just passed away earlier. I think last week or the week before last. She was 95 years old, and she was like the mother of New Orleans cuisine. We found out that that restaurant was also very significant during the civil rights movement, as far as where people would meet. Civil rights leaders would meet to to plan and strategize and things of that nature. So they're meeting the mayor of New Orleans there, and she took Candace with her. And her reasoning for taking Candace was that she felt like, Candace has a background in she worked on the Obama campaign, so she has a background in politics, and so she felt like she would sort of be good for this meeting. It seemed random to me, but whatever. Then Katie and Ashley are going to go have a tarot reading. That seems right up both of their alley. That is perfect. Then the other three ladies, Robin, Karen, and Monique, are going. Excuse me, y'all. Are going on a swamp tour. So that's how the ladies spent their day. And then later on that night, of course, it's going to be the party for Giselle's dad. So it wasn't really eventful. Any of them, they talked. The ladies, Monique, Giselle, Monique, excuse me, Karen and Robin, they just sort of recapped what happened the night before, and they sort of talked about it because remember Karen wasn't there, and Monique's thing was Ashley ain't Ashley ain't one of my best friends either, and I like Candace, but I don't agree with Candace in this scenario. And my thing about this whole situation with, again, like I said last week, I think Candace's argument got lost in the situation that you were questioning Ashley's commitment to getting pregnant connected to alcohol, because Ashley said she was going to stop drinking alcohol. All the rest of that, Candace, you got lost in your argument and it came off wrong. But anyway, then the ladies, Katie and Ashley, had a tarot reading. And of course, she wanted to know about the fertility and the tarot. The doc, golly, y'all, I swear I'll be yawning until I start talking on camera. Um, we find out that the guy who read the tarot cards told Ashley, like, look, you are putting too much pressure on yourself. This whole fertility situation, you're putting too much pressure on yourself. That you'll get pregnant within the year, but you got to chill out. Basically, is what he said. And we know that she's pregnant now, so it came true. Yay for Ashley. What the conversation also was, she brought up the fact that her and Michael broke up because he wasn't sure if he wanted to have a family, and they ended up getting back together. And she was like, so I'm ready to just reap the benefits. I've worked really hard on this relationship and I want my baby. And he kind of let her know, like, look, a child should not be the glue that cements a relationship. It should be the combination of that relationship, but it shouldn't be the glue that brings everything together. But anyway, so, and she was like, oh, that's deep, yeah, that's deep. Anyway, the lunch at Dookie Chase was really nice. It wasn't very eventful, but they had a nice conversation, and of course, just about where New Orleans is, how far New Orleans has come, the fact that they have a black woman mayor for the first time in the history of the city. New Orleans is a very old city and a very historic city, especially when you talk about the black race and Creoles and It's a very interesting, very colorful history there. I had actually applied to go to a program this summer to study New Orleans history as it relates to the civil rights movement. I ain't get in, but if they offer it again next year, I'm gonna keep applying because it sounds like something I definitely would be interested in learning more about. Anyway, enough about me. So, but again, it wasn't very eventful to be, in my opinion. Like everybody seemed like they had a good time doing their respective thing. Oh, I'm sorry. The only other thing that kind of went down, which I don't even want to talk about because it was just uncomfortable to watch. But Ashley and Katie go to a lingerie shop, honey, and they put on pasties and they are practicing their pasties in twirling action. It was again very Katie and Ashley. Like I wasn't surprised by it, but it was very very uncomfortable to watch with the two of them walking around with them pasties on they breasts, honey. It was a lot. Anyway, um, but they had a good time. Everybody seemed like they had a really good time doing their respective uh activities. So we get back to the hotel. Everybody's getting ready to go. Um, and it looks like the party for Gizelle's dad is an all white party. So everybody has on their white outfits. Dad looked clean, okay? Dad looked cleaner than the board of health. Do you hear me? Dad looked clean. All right. And they meet up with, well, Karen and Katie were late, so they had to take an Uber, so they were late getting out of there. But the rest of the ladies met up with Gizelle and her dad, and they ended up having a second line, which was really cool. Again, if you know anything about New Orleans, second line is very much a part of New Orleans culture, and so they had a second line leading up to the venue where the party was going to be. It looked like it was a church. I'm not sure. Well, no, it wasn't a church because they had alcohol and stuff there. At least I don't think it was a church. Anyway, but where the venue was, and of course, once they got there, we got to see a lot of Gizelle's family and friends, and it was a really really nice party. Question, and I don't know the answer to this: is Gizelle's mom deceased? And if they mentioned it, I missed it, so I apologize if I missed that. But I didn't remember seeing her mom or anything mentioned about her mom, to be honest with you. Um, but on the way there, Ashley does apologize to Monique, basically like, look, last year I was very insensitive. You lost a baby and I was very insensitive to that and I apologize. Having gone through my own situation, I dig it. I get it. I get how disrespectful that was. And Monique's thing was, all right, thanks. Like, all right, thanks. Um, Dad was getting it at the second line though. Dad was getting it again, clean, and he was getting it. He was getting his dance on, honey. And I ain't mad at you, Dad. I ain't mad at you. So again, it looked like they were having themselves a good time. They got to the venue. Karen and Katie eventually showed up. We got to couple of things went down at the party. Not a whole lot went down because Karen. Gizelle was shutting that shit down. Like, what you not gonna do is act up at my daddy 80th birthday party. Let me tell you what you not gonna do. But a couple of few things went down. A couple of few. Um, First of all, we got well, not first of all, because I don't think this is in any kind of order, but um we got to meet one of Gizelle's ex-boyfriends. And Karen, I felt was really inappropriate in talking to him about basically, well, we know that Gizelle's track record, she can run a man away, she hard on a man, so you be very careful and da da da. And I was like, okay, Karen, you been now. I ain't been team Gizelle on this whole situation, but now you're doing a bit much. I felt like that was inappropriate, and she was doing a bit much. Um, Candace, when they were in the bus, when Karen and excuse me, when Gizelle and Candace were on their bus on their way to Dookie Chase, Gizelle let her Candace know, look, you were a bit aggressive last night. Like you were putting your hands in people's face, you were getting in their face, and it was too much. You were doing too much. So Candace did apologize to Ashley for getting in her face, and she said, I don't fully understand your journey, and I would like to be a part of it. I would like for you to share it with me or be a part of it with me. And Ashley's response basically was, well, time will tell. Like, I appreciate your apology, but I'm, that'll just have to take time. So Candace got offended by that and went to, was telling Gizelle about it. I mean, excuse me, I keep saying Gizelle and Karen mixed up. And was telling Karen about it. Now, here's my thing. People crack me up when they feel like they can say whatever they want to say to you and carry things however they want to carry it and then apologize and you just supposed to just be okay and everything go back to the way it is. And that's my issue with Gizelle. Gizelle, you dogged Karen out at every turn last season. And now that you over it and you want to move on, Gizelle, damn it. Karen is supposed to just move on and be like, okay, that's cool. No, what she's saying is, I'm willing to give our friendship another try. That doesn't mean we start at 10. We got to start at 1 and work our way back up to 10. And that's kind of what Ashley did to Candace. Like, look, I accept your apology. I hear what you're saying. But first of all, their friendship was never really on 10. But we ain't even back at 5. We got to start at the beginning. I'm willing to do that. But that's where we're going to have to kind of start. Well, what I find interesting is that damn it, Karen seems to have a problem with that. But isn't that what you're doing to Gizelle? It's the same thing. So she proceeds to have a conversation, Karen that is, proceeds to have a conversation basically saying how, she's sort of, not feeling that and feeling like, that Ashley is being a little, doing a little too much. And then Ashley comes up and again, Karen is letting Ashley know, like, look, I just think that, she apologized and, she just doing a little too much. And Ashley was like, so I'm wrong for feeling the way I feel. I'm wrong for, basically saying that we need to take things a little slow in our friendship. So then Candace, and this is where Candace went way left. Candace said, well, Ashley, I meant what I said. I apologize for being aggressive, but I meant what I said about me not feeling like you're serious about your getting pregnant. Candace, we right back where we. Now, what the fuck you apologize for then? Because then you meant what you said, and I. So then Monique tried to get in it in a good way, not in a bad way, but in a good way, and say, Candace, don't you feel like that maybe with Ashley's, she said Ashley has been messy in the past, and that's true. But don't you feel like that maybe with the experience that she had last year, that maybe she's changed and maybe she sees things differently? And Candace was like, yeah, sure, but and they started getting a little loud. Gizelle shut that thing down. And I ain't mad at her. That's her father's birthday. She said, well, we ain't doing that here. We're not doing that here. We're not doing that right here or today. And again, then Karen sat back and ain't had nothing to say. Now you started that whole damn conversation. You started it and then didn't have nothing to say. Sat there stirring her tea, honey. So, but I just feel like Candace, you just need to let this shit go because again, I understand where you started, but you not even where you started now. You way, way left than where you started. But anyway, Gizelle, gave some salutations to her dad, and then her dad, said this was a great best party he ever had, and everything was cool and cool, and they partied for a little while, and then they headed back to the hotel. Then we see Miss Gizelle coming into her hotel room 2 hours later, honey. Because she done went and had cocktails with the ex-boyfriend. I think his name was Scott. She done went and had cocktails with the ex-boyfriend down to the bar, honey. I ain't mad at you. I ain't mad at you. You know what I'm saying? He was a nice looking guy. Looked like he nice looking and all that good stuff. So anyway, it's their last day in New Orleans. And they're going to take a riverboat. And then they're going to go to Cafe Du Monde, which, of course, if you go to New Orleans, you have to go to Cafe Du Monde. Gizelle told them that she had drinks with the ex-boyfriend and how everything was cool and it was good and fun time and that probably Katie ass ain't gonna make it. She gonna have to meet us at Cafe Du Monde because Katie is still in bed, honey. Katie look a hot mess. I don't know what Katie's a mess, y'all. Katie is a mess. They need to keep Katie on the show. If nothing else, she is comic relief because she is a hot buttered mess. Okay. On their way to I'm trying to remember. Oh no. That's not when it happened. That's not when it happened. because I don't want to get this out of order. I don't want to get this out of order. So Monique again is talking about the rainbow party, how when she gets back to Potomac, she got to hit the ground running because her family is, she said some of her family will be at the airport when she gets to the airport. And shout out to my girl who I saw in the previews for next week. I knew she was at the party, but it looked like she actually on camera. Shout out to Miss Cookie. So um they take the Creole Queen and they ride the Creole Queen down the river, and then they end up at Cafe Du Monde. Now, while they're on the Creole Queen, a couple of things happen. Again, uh, Candace act the fool because she saw a bug. Honey, Candace be doing a lot. She just does a lot. Um, but they have a conversation about, that's when Gizelle told him about having the drink and had a good conversation, and she, he reached in for a kiss and he didn't want to leave, and it might be a little spark there. It might be something little spark, something like that. And Karen, I mean, gosh, Karen asked about Sherman, and Gizelle was clear. Gizelle said there is no Sherman. That's over. That's a wrap. As far as I'm concerned, that's where the conversation should have ended. It's a wrap. For a couple of reasons. One, if you had more questions, that was the time to ask more questions. Two, it ain't much more to say after that. It's over. It's a wrap. It ain't a whole lot more to say. Because what I feel like happened was, because later on we get into this discussion again, and I'll get to that. But what I feel like happened was that maybe Karen texted some people and got some more information and then was trying to come back later on. We'll get to that in a minute. But anyway, that was pretty much where that went. Again, they had a good conversation, and everybody seems to be happy for Gizelle to move on and maybe find another little spark with a little something something. Somebody down into the New of the Orleans, right? They get to Cafe Du Monde, and Gizelle shares with us that she has a lot of great memories of Cafe Du Monde with her grandmother, that they used to go there and talk and have beignets and just have a good afternoon. And so I thought that was really nice. Monique is a little tired, so she goes back to the hotel. So she's not there for this part of it. Um, she said she probably just overdid it a little bit, and she knows she's got to, once she goes home, she's got a lot to do. So she's going to just, kind of listen to her body and rest. So they're having beignets, and I'm trying to figure out how the conversation started. But let's just say that that Karen asked about Sherman. And Gizelle was like, Karen, I'm not getting ready to talk to you about Sherman. I've said all I had to say about Sherman. I'm not getting ready to talk about Sherman. She said, I already told you that I'm not going to discuss Sherman with you because you're friends with his ex-wife. And so that is a boundary that I'm setting with us, that we're not going to talk about it. So then Karen wants to play but you said you want to talk card. We want us to be friends and you want to open up, and you want me to talk to you, but you don't want to talk to me. See, again, I think Gizelle is legit in why she doesn't want to talk to you about Sherman. One, it's over, and she said it's over. There ain't a whole lot more to add to that. But two, you are friends with his ex-wife, and we saw that got a little messy last season. So she 100%. And three, she already told you that. Like, this isn't like she just bringing this up now. She told you a couple of weeks ago, I want us to work on our friendship, but Sherman is off limits. She said that. So then she said, well, I thought you and Sherman were in therapy. Weren't you guys in therapy? And again, I'm not talking to you about this. I told you that it's over, and that's all you need to know. And then, Karen in her confessional gonna say, well, I think that Gizelle knew because I was told that Sherman was in sex with somebody else, and I think Gizelle knew I was going to clock her on it. So, she kind of told on herself. No, she didn't tell on herself because it didn't matter where Sherman was and what he was doing and who he was doing it with. She said she ain't discussing it with you at all, point blank, period, the end of this conversation. And I just feel like, again, Karen, you doing too much. And this one, and I've been I ain't going to say team Karen because I ain't got a team in this fight, but I've been sort of defending Karen, but on this one, Karen, you were wrong. I just felt like you were wrong. And then Karen got to cussing. And, then Robin had to say, look, you can feel how you feel, but you don't need to do all this cussing. And I think Karen caught herself because at first she said, I will say what I want to say, how I want to say it. Then she said, well, I will take this into consideration. Baby, Gizelle was paying her dust. Do you hear me? Gizelle was eating her beignets and she was paying Karen absolutely no attention. So then finally Karen says, well, fine, and I'm done. I'm done. And Gizelle said, okay. I just felt like that was a lot. That was just unnecessary. So anyway, that is that's pretty much what went down. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Drop it in them comments. Peace.